This is me guessing limited Magic cards. Yes. Limited, for people who don't know, is the Hearthstone equivalent of Arena, or Magic equivalent of Arena. So could you describe how you draft in limited for Magic?
Yes. So in Magic, there's something called draft. And basically what it is where you sit down at a table with 8 people, including yourself. Each of you has 3 packs of cards in front of you. What you all do is you open one pack at the same time. You look through that pack of cards. You pick out which one you want. This is my card. I put it on the table. This is mine. You pass your pack to the left. And this continues on until the entire pack has been drafted. Someone's taken a card for each pack. So you don't know what you're going to get, and you don't know what's going to come back around to you. And then once that pack is all done, you do the same thing. You open up your second pack, and then you pass to the right.
How many cards do you draft? 60?
It's a pack of, oh God, how many in a fucking pack? Oh, don't ask me. I should know that. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'd say I think like 60 or something, a pack of cards.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to start you off with a common card.
Okay, so Preening Champion. This is 2 neutral and 1 blue mana. Do the types of cards matter in limited? Like, should I read that it's a Bird Knight?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Okay, so it is a Bird Knight. It is flying. When Preening Champion enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 blue and red elemental creature token. Okay, so I just have to very quickly describe the combat in Magic for people who don't know. In Magic, you can block with your creatures when your opponent is attacking and vice versa. And the health of the creature goes back up to full if it lives a full turn, correct?
Yep.
Okay, 3 mana 2/2, I guess, is probably okay. Flying, we don't really have flying in Magic. All right, not flying in Magic. We don't have flying in Hearthstone. Every creature's on the board, unless it has a very specific text. In Magic, I believe flying can only be blocked by other flying, and I think there's one other word that can block it. I forget what it is. Reach. Yeah.
Yes.
Which means that your opponent does have to have something to, I guess, block this if they just don't want to take 2 damage. 20 health is very low. It feels like that's very low. I feel like you die. Actually, would you die often? See, I have to think about the combat too, because you could stop your opponent from doing stuff during your opponent's turn. The interaction. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna think big on this one. I don't want to get the first one wrong. Enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 blue and red elemental. Does the color of the elemental creature tokens matter?
In some instances, yes. In some instances, yes, it does. Sure.
I have no idea what that means. Blue and red. I'm gonna say this card's probably good though. Like, I feel like 3 mana for that amount of stats is probably fine, especially because it's 2 neutral mana and it's a flying card. I don't know how relevant the blue and red elemental creature tokens are, but it feels like it's just a good amount of stats for a limited format. So I'll go with the same score you did out of 5. 3 out of 5?
This card is a top tier common card.
Okay, damn it,
this card is really, really good. And it's really good for a couple of different reasons. Some of them you named. The fact that it's cheap, it's a 3 mana that gets you a 2/2 and your own fucking patchy pirate or whatever the hell it is when it comes in. It gets you a 1/1. I'm showing you all cards from the current set, which is March of the Machine, which is the current limited set to draft. So in March of the Machine, blue, white, night tribal is a thing. And they're very, very good. And also there is a mechanic called Convoke. And what Convoke is where you can pay for a spell. If it has Convoke on it, you can pay with your creatures. Like, you can tap them as if they were mana. So the fact that you pay 3 mana, you get a 2/2 flyer with a 1/1 that already fits into a really good blue, I think I said black white, I meant blue white night deck, and can also tap for Convoke. Like, this card is excellent.
Okay. No, that makes sense. I was thinking it was better, I'm going to be honest, but I didn't want to go like all the way up because I was like, I don't know how good those are.
I have another card for you. This one is going to be a 2-parter. So okay. Here is the front side.
Okay. The front side.
Yep. And here you'll figure out what you get to read. And here's the back side. And then go ahead.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to get this wrong. Khenra?
Don't ask me. I don't fucking know. I assume Khenra.
Okay. 1 neutral, 1 red. It is a Jackal Warrior. Trample. So trample is if it does more damage than the thing that's blocking its health, it does the additional damage to the enemy hero.
Yes.
Okay. This has prowess, which is whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 till the end of the turn. What the hell is that symbol? The blue. So
the blue symbol and a 5. So that it's called a Phyrexian mana. That means you can either pay 1 blue and 3 colorless, or you can pay 2 life and 3 colorless to transform this card. So you don't necessarily have to have blue. If you have 2 mana, or not 2 mana, if you have 2 life, you can pay 2 life in lieu of the mana cost.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay.
So you can pay 2 life and 3 colorless to transform it into
the next card. Okay,
this card.
Oh my god, Glistening. Spellspear. Sure. Okay, so there's no mana cost for this card because you can only get this card if you transform the previous card, I'm guessing. Okay, so this has Trample, Ward 2. What is Ward?
Ward is you can't target this creature without paying its ward cost. In this case, this card has Ward of 2. So if I have 4 mana kill spell, I have to pay the 4 mana to target the creature and also pay 2 extra mana on top of that to target the creature. Otherwise, the spell will fizzle.
Oh my, okay, that sounds pretty good. Prowess, each instance of process triggers separately. Okay, that's okay. And it's a 3/3. I'm guessing it doesn't.
Oh, you missed something. Go one more time. What does it have? It has Ward of 2 and what?
Is it prowess?
Yeah, but what else? It's prowess, prowess.
Oh, it has double the prowess.
It has double the prowess.
Prowess squared. Oh my god. Okay, wait. What does that mean though? Like, does it? Wait. Why does it have a? Wait, I'm so confused. Hearthstone has never done anything like this. Why does this have 2 prowess?
So same as it. So when you cast a spell, it gets a prowess trigger, and then it gets a prowess trigger. So it happens twice.
That seems really good. And paying 2 health for it doesn't seem that bad. I mean, that has to be good, right? It's like this feels like it's so good that you're baiting me. And like, this is where the mind games start coming in. I've done this too much. I'm going to tell you right now that people mind game me in this. So I'm trying to think if this card isn't good. Like, I can't imagine this not being good in a limited format. Oh God, there's no way. It has to be good. 5 out of 5.
So out of 5, what is it?
4 to 5. 4 to 5?
This card is a fucking 5 out of 5. This card is this card is the nut. This card is absolutely, like, it is cruel how good it is. Yes.
Oh my God.
It is very good. It is very, the trampled, like the war, like the flip on it is huge. Like prowess is just,
that sounds broken.
It's already pretty insane. So yes, this card is a 5 out of 5. But you second guessed yourself. You were like, I don't know, I feel like you're baiting me. No, you were on the money. You had it.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, it's more about me, like metagaming myself to thinking that it's not as good as it actually could be. You're getting in your own head.
You're mind gaming yourself.
It's only gonna get worse as this goes on. I'm just gonna warn you.
No. Here. I'll give you another one. Okay. Here's your next one.
Okay.
So this is a rare.
Oh my God. Okay. So do the rarities matter in limited? I guess it's just how often you play the card, right?
Yeah, it's how. So there's one. Well, it gets complicated because Magic decides to do this to us. I was gonna say, back in the day, it's 1 rare in every pack, a couple of uncommons, and mostly full of commons. In this set specifically, they have like a special sheet, so you can have up to 3 rares in a pack. You're gonna get at minimum. You're gonna get at minimum 1 rare in every pack.
Okay. Oh my God. Yep. This looks like a very intense.
A lot of words.
Omnath. Oh my God. Omnath. Sure. Locus of all. Okay, so 1 white, 1 blue. You showed me this on the last card. Is it like 2 health still? Or is it?
You can either pay a swamp or pay 2 health.
Okay. And then 1 red and then 1 green. This is a legendary creature. It is a Phyrexian elemental. If you would lose unspent mana, that mana becomes black instead. How do you lose mana in Magic? Like your opponent gets rid of your lands? So your mana goes away
at every turn.
Oh, like when you tap
every instance, yeah. So your main phase, like you spend your mana, like it goes away at each phase in your turn. So if I like untap, upkeep, draw, I like tap 3 mana, and then I go to like my main phase, that mana is gone. I wasted it.
Okay, interesting. At the beginning of your pre-comment main phase, look at the top card of your library. You may reveal that card if it has 3 or more colored mana symbols and its mana cost. If you do, add 3 mana in any combination of its colors and put it into your hand. If you don't reveal it, put it into your hand. Well, I gotta reread that again. If you do add 3 mana in any combination of its colors and put it into your hand, 3 mana in any combination of its colors. What does that mean? Like, does that mean it changes the mana cost of the card? Or okay, sorry, you're gonna explain this.
Wait, where are you at in the book what
I just want you to know, by the way, Hearthstone has nothing like this. This is the most complicated thing I've ever read in my life. What is this?
This is the most, I have got some stuff for you.
God.
If you think is, no, I won't show it to you because I don't want to ruin your day. But I won't, so yeah. Beginning of your pre-combat main phase, so before, you could look at the top card, reveal it if it has 3 or more colored mana symbols in its mana cost. So if it has like red, blue, green, or like black, white, red, 3 or more, you get to reveal it. If you do reveal it, you add 3 mana in any combination of its colors, so you get to add that mana, you get that mana, and then you put the card in your hand. If you don't reveal it, put it into your hand.
Oh, so you can use that mana, like, if you show it.
Oh, yeah, you show the card, you get the mana to cast said card probably.
Oh my God. Okay, and it's a 4/4. God. In standard, I know we're talking about limited here, but I would imagine in standard this card is pretty great.
I have no idea, but
in limited, it feels like it's harder because you have to. Actually, I was gonna say it would be harder, but I mean, if you just can play the card, because generally that seems like what you would do. You show it and then you just play the cards because you get the manas for it.
If you get to add 3 mana. So let's say I reveal like a 5 mana, like let's say it's got white, blue, black, and red in it. I reveal it. I only get 3 of any combination of its colors, so I would need to make up for the excess.
Right. But you get to pick any color you want, correct? As long as
its combination of colors, yeah.
God, that seems so good though. Like that seems incredible. Because you get to do this at the start of every one of your turns. And you get to just draw an extra card, I guess. So this is just good, but then there's the additional benefit on top of that. And you get additional mana. No, this card has to be insane. Like this has to be 5 out of 5. Don't lie to me.
I would give Omnath like a 1.5 out of 5.
Are you? Wow, really?
It's maybe this is, y'all can come for me if you want, but for me, like this card is just not all that great.
Wow.
You have to be in 4 color minimum, right? Because you have to at least be in everything but black. And you just get a 4/4 on top of it. Like the unspent mana is kind of alright, but like it's really like I should say, so Mom is known for being a very bomb heavy format. There are much better bombs in, I wouldn't even call Omnath a bomb. I would just call it some guy.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you right now, in Hearthstone, like I don't even read the mana cost. I don't even look at the mana cost after I read it the first time because I never have to think about the different colors or anything, right? But you're entirely right.
That's true, right? Yeah, think about it like that. You have to not only be in those colors, but you have to have drawn the mana and have the mana available to you.
So that is my biggest fault with guessing Magic cards is I just completely forget about the fact that like you have to draw the mana and you have to have the certain mana type. You're entirely right. After like I'm sure my like whoever edits the video will show my face. Like I literally face palmed when I was like, oh wait, you have to get the mana for this. You're entirely right. This card's probably weak just because it's in limited, especially the chances of you getting all of that mana is probably really difficult, and it's probably just not worth the setup for it. Now, if you get it, it's probably sick.
So this is your next card. So in each Magic set, they abbreviate what the set is. So this is called March of the Machine. So the abbreviation is MOM. That's why I said mom earlier. I realized that after I said it. Would you really like, what the hell are you talking about mom for? This is mother.
Oh, okay.
And it has a
sick art.
And it has a backside.
Okay, so Elesh, Norn, 2 neutral, 2 white. Vigilance. I don't know what vigilance is actually. So when you are attacking your opponent, you like tap to attack usually. And that if a creature is tapped, that means when it goes to my opponent's turn, they come to hit me, I can't block with a tapped creature. I can block with vigilance. Vigilance is I can attack you and block as well. Okay, so that's pretty great. Whenever a source an opponent controls deals damage to you or a permanent you control, that source controller loses 2 life unless they pay one mana, I'm assuming.
Yep.
And it has 2 neutral, 1 white. Sacrifice 3 other creatures, exile Elesh Norn, then return it to the battlefield, transform under its owner's control, activate only as sorcery.
And then that's what it gets flipped to, is what I just sent you.
Oh my God. Okay. This card looks insane. So an enchantment, I believe, is a card that is always on your side of the board, and you basically build up the effect, right? I could be wrong. I think I played it with once. There
are enchantments, enchantment auras, enchantment sagas. This is an enchantment saga.
Perfect.
So this is enchantment saga. It reads kind of like a book. So basically how it works is you see chapter 1. So when this card flips, chapter 1 happens. Okay.
Okay.
So that part happens, and then the end. It goes to your opponent's turn, comes back to you before anything else happens. Chapter 2 happens. So it has to go to your opponent, come back to you. Then chapter 2 will happen. I play my turn, pass my opponent, pass back to me. Chapter 3 happens.
Oh my God. Okay. So this is the Argent Etchings. So the first thing it does, incubate 5 times, then transform all incubator tokens you control. Okay, what are incubator tokens?
Okay, I knew I should have. Okay, there's God bless. Yeah, I should have said this. So, so in this set, they introduced a new thing called incubator tokens, and basically, so think of them like eggs. So basically, you get that many eggs with 2 counters on them. So they're artifacts on your side until you crack your egg open, so you pay 2 to transform it into a creature, and it comes on the battlefield with that many 1/1 counters on it. It's incubate 5 times, so you have 5 eggs with 2 counters on each of them. So I can pay 2 and transform them, or I can do what the saga says, and they just transform on their own, so I don't have to pay anything.
This is great. Again, there's nothing like this in Hearthstone. This is incredible. Like remember when I told you that like Magic is such a nuanced game for a Hearthstone? Like this is the perfect card for this. Cards on the back. Oh my God. Okay, so the second stage is creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain double strike until the end of turn. Okay, that has to be pretty great.
Yep. Are you familiar with double strike?
I believe it's like Wind Fury in Hearthstone where they get their attack twice, right? Is that what it is?
It's like the damage happens twice. Yes.
Oh, okay. And then the third stage after 1 more turn is destroy all other permanents except for artifacts, lands, and Phyrexians, which is, I guess, the type of creatures.
Yeah, and it's good to note that the eggs are Phyrexians.
Okay, and then you exile the Argent Etchings, then return to the battlefield front face up. So then you get Elesh back.
You get Elesh back, yes.
After this is bad. Okay, oh my God, this is an intense card. Can I ask you a question a little bit outside of the game here? How likely are you to get like the eggs?
Like other than the ones I get from the etchings?
Sure, yeah.
Pretty likely. There's a lot of eggs in the set. There are a lot of ways to get eggs in the set. Yes.
Okay. So this card is probably going to be useful regardless. I would assume. This is tough because it's like I have nothing to really compare it to in Hearthstone. Okay, so that's a pretty big investment for the setup. Now the setup, what you get, the Etchings card is probably fantastic. It probably wins you the game, especially because it's just infinite value at that point. As long as you have 3 other creatures when she goes back, it has to be good, right? Like why wouldn't it be good? I don't know. Have you ever played Yu-Gi-Oh before by chance?
No, but I read a card once and I wanted to die. I was like, what the fuck am I looking at?
So in Yu-Gi-Oh, at least, when I was guessing Yu-Gi-Oh cards, first of all, miserable experience. Don't ever do it. It's awful.
I can imagine.
Trying to the cards. But like in Yu-Gi-Oh, if a card has that much text, it generally means that it's pretty great. So this is what I'm going with right now. Probably 5 out of 5, 4 to 5. It might be too expensive to sacrifice 3 other creatures. I don't know how much of an investment that really is. That's what I'm holding back for. You know what? Now that I say it out loud, I'm going to go for like 3 out of 5. Like it could be really good, but sacrificing 3 creatures could be like pretty detrimental to your setup. So 3 out of 5.
What just happened? You started out so right and you went so south. So this card is like a 6 out of 5.
What the fuck?
This card is absolutely not like, so like, I think it's hysterical, by the way, that you were asking like how many eggs, like didn't even pay attention to the 5 eggs you already get off. I was like, how many eggs am I going to have anyways? Asking how to make this saga even better than it already is, which is the most adorable thing I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. Elesh on the front side, it's a 6 out of 5. Like that's for any source that damn. So if my opponent swings at me, like they have to, like let's say they hit me with 5 creatures, they have to pay 1 mana for each of those sources, or they take 5 themselves.
No, you're right. Do you see how much more fun it is on your side?
I feel so powerful. I feel so all-knowing.
Yeah, it's pretty great. It's a really, really good feeling. This side's
watching
awful.
Oh my God, watching you go back and forth is like the best. This is so fun.
Yeah. I'm glad you're having fun. I'm really glad.
So I have another flip card for you.
God, okay.
And so here's the front. This will be, I think this might be the last flip card. We'll see. Here's the front side.
Oh my God. Okay. Big dino. Big dino. Okay.
And here's the back side, because you said big dumb dino. You haven't seen the back side yet.
Oh God. Okay. Well, here we try. All right, Etali, Primal Conqueror. This is 5 neutral, 2 red. It is an Elder Dinosaur. It has Trample. When this card enters the battlefield, each player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells from among the non-land cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. Oh my God. 9. Okay, so this is 9 neutral, or the thing again where you can pay 2 health, I'm assuming?
Yeah. So you could pay 9 colorless and a green, or 9 colorless and 2 life.
Okay, so this says transform and activate only as a 11/11 sorcerer, and then it's originally a 7/7 stat line. Okay, so then we're changing this over. Oh my God. Okay, Etali Primal Sickness. This is trample and indestructible. So does that mean that like this card can't die unless it's like exiled or something?
That is exactly what that means. The only way this card is going anywhere unless it is exiled.
Okay, when this card deals combat damage to a player, they get that many poison counters. A player with 10 or more poison counters loses the game. Does poison do damage if they don't have 10?
It does both. So you take, you take 11 and you get poisoned for 11.
Wait, so this card, you just lose if this card attacks you.
If you have 10 poison counters on you, you do lose the game, yes.
I mean, if you pack, oh my God, wait, hold on. Isn't this just insane? Hold on. 5 mana, if I'm neutral and 2 red doesn't seem like that's that difficult. Obviously for like what this card is, it should be that cost. And the first upside down, or like the top side of the card, I should say, is disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find a way to tell me this card isn't like the best card you showed me so far. Like even do you even need to transform this? Like, do I even want to? Like the transform's obviously great, but like, why would I want to? Like, it's already good. Is the laughing telling me this card is bad? Hold on, I've got to mind game myself into thinking is it bad. There's no way this is bad. There's no way. Indestructible, like this card's game winning in itself. Like it's a win condition. 10 out of 5. 10 out of 5
is correct. Yeah.
Yes.
You were right, like completely on the money when like just the front face of this card is like back breaking in itself. Like if you flip this thing, like you're just, I mean, by the time, like I haven't seen many flipped Etalis because by the time they have casted Etali, I am dead the next turn.
Yeah, seems pretty good.
Yeah, this card is nutty. Yes. Indeed.
Oh
yes, it is. It is. It is very good. Speaking of big dinosaurs, I have another one for you. If you're a big old dinosaur fan, here's the next one.
Dinosaurs are cool. Oh, okay. Oh my God. Ghalta and Mavren. Let's go with that. 3 neutral, 2 green, 2 white. Dinosaur vampire. Oh my God. Trample. Whenever you attack, choose one. So you can either create a tapped and attacking XX green dinosaur creature token with trample, where X is the greatest power among other attacking creatures. Okay. Or you can create X 1/1 white vampire creature tokens with lifelink, where X is the number of other creatures attacking. Okay. That seems really good as well. It's a 12/12 stats as well. This is a pretty pricey dinosaur for the effect. The other card looked a lot better for what it cost. This one's a little bit more specific mana. Trample is good though. Like, I mean, God, trample with a 12/12 stat line seems like that's pretty great. Oh my, I'm trying to imagine like how often is the 1/1 vampire creature tokens really relevant? Lifelink, if I remember correctly, is it restores the life to your hero, correct?
Yes.
This is really tough because again, this is like, how often do you get, like, how big are your boards for when you're attacking with this? Because clearly if your board is ginormous and this is swinging, you probably win the game. Like, it's probably just game over. I'm trying to, okay, so I'm going to take the Hearthstone approach on this one. So in Arena, if this card was played, the first one's broken because you get to keep the creature, right? I'm assuming. But also the 1/1s on the backside are really good because then you get the block with them, which is probably real. Oh my God.
It is worthy to note that the, like most things like this, like normally the tokens are like sacrificed to the instep. You get to keep these tokens.
The second option looks better than the first option, unless you just straight up can do something amazing with it. I'd rather have a bunch of 1/1s that have lifelink than one bigger boy. Like
so let's say you swing with Ghalta and a 3. You only get 1/1/1. You don't get 3 1/1s because it's just for how many.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I think generally speaking, like if I'm attacking with Ghalta, I'm pretty happy regardless.
Yes.
Like there's no way I'm not happy with that. So I'm trying to think of like, is a trample dinosaur with a 12/12 stat line just good enough on its own? And it might be, like, it might just be a good win condition. That's a big stat line. but then you get the additional benefit. And I'm trying to think of like how good is that benefit. Also, it scales with itself, which is also very scary because with each vampire, that means the next turn it gets to attack, you get a bigger dinosaur, which is very scary. This guy, 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5?
Yeah.
I would say Ghalta is a 5 out of 5.
Okay. I was underselling it, but yeah, it seems like it's really good.
Yeah, it's very good. Like I honestly, obviously prefer Etali more a little bit, but Ghalta is excellent. And it's also, you're right on it being a must kill because Ghalta itself does not have to attack to trigger. So like it says whenever you attack.
Right.
So Ghalta, if you just pacify Ghalta, the triggers still go on when they, like, let's say I swing with a 3/3, Ghalta's pacified, still not swing. I still get the benefit of Ghalta of my choosing.
Right. No, that makes sense.
I have another team up for you. I have 2 more creatures for you.
Okay. Kogla and Yidaro. Oh my God, these names. Ape, dinosaur, turtle. Perfect. Okay. 2 neutral, 2 red, 2 green. Whenever Kogla and Yidaro enter the battlefield, choose one. It gains trample and haste until the end of turn. So haste is like charge, right? Where it gets attack immediately.
Yes, it doesn't have summoning sickness if you have haste.
Okay.
Yes.
It fights target creature you don't control. Oh, okay. You could also pay 2 neutral, 1 red, and 1 green to discard this, destroy to 1 target artifact or enchantment, shuffle this card into your library from the graveyard, and then draw a card. I mean, regardless of how you do this, though, it's still pretty great. The fact that it immediately impacts the board has to be at least decent. 7/7 stat line, though, doesn't feel as great, especially because you just showed me like one that costs virtually the exact same. Well, 1 more neutral, but it's 5/5 more stats, plus it has a ridiculous effect. This one's a little slower. Really interesting. This is a really tough one. I don't know how relevant the last thing is though, but I would imagine, so in Hearthstone we call them like tech cards, and this is almost like a tech card-esque because it helps you deal with an artifact or an enchantment that you may not be able to deal with, right? In limited as well, I would imagine that like tech-esque cards are probably not as prominent because you're opening packs and maybe you don't want to take too many of them. So this is like very versatile card. I might be really wrong on this, but I'm going to go like 3.5 out of 5. Makes sense. This card might be too slow though. I'm going to put that out there.
This card is a 5 out of 5.
Damn it. No. Okay. I'm going to hold on before you even tell me why. You ever done like a multiple choice test and then you're doing like A. You're like, there's no way the next one's A. This is like the same thing.
I tried to switch it up a little bit, but I wanted to do all the like team ups together. Most of them are really good, and I picked my favorites. Okay, I have 1 more team up after this. I'll explain in a minute. This card is, it's just like the discard on it is great. Like most of the time, you're just doing one of the first 2 options, either trample and haste. Like again, it's these games. So in this set, you go pretty long, and there is like a bit of ramp too in Mom. And so Kogla and Yidaro have just, it's versatile enough, and it's just a good card.
Yeah, it seems okay. Yeah, all right. makes sense. Oh my God. See, it's really tough because you showed me the last one, and that card seems insane, and it's 1 more mana cost. So in comparison, this card looks weaker. But yeah, you're probably right. Yargle in Multani. Sure. Multani. Okay. 3 neutral, 2 black. That's black, right? Yeah, it's black. 2 black, 1 green. This is a frog spirit elemental. What the hell? No, it's not. What is that? Okay. There is no, what the fuck? Okay, it's just an 18/6. I was gonna, what the, wait, I've heard a bunch about you from my daughter, Multani rumbled. There was a time where I balked at your aid, Phantom, but she has shown me the merit, and I'm like, what, can you do the, what Yargle says? Do you have a... Perfect. Okay, 18/6. That's a large guy. 3 neutral, 2 black, 1 green. I mean, okay, this is probably bad. This is what we would refer to in Hearthstone, or at least I refer to it as a big meatball. And generally big meatballs aren't good enough. Big heaping stats are not really what you want to play in Hearthstone. So I've imagined in limited format, it's almost the same thing. That being said, in limited, you don't get to build your deck. So this card is a little bit better. And if I'm thinking in arena, 18/6 is a very spooky card, because if this does swing your face, you're basically dead. But I don't think that's really good. I'm going to give like a 2 out of 5. I can't, maybe even lower, like a 1.5 out of 5. I think there's just way better stuff you could be doing in the format.
I wouldn't be upset if you went lower.
Oh, so it's that bad.
I was telling you earlier before we started recording, I have a personal vendetta against one of these cards. This is the card. I have a personal, I hate Yargle. This card sucks. And there's so many Yargle lovers, and I am not one of them. I am one of the few. I hate Yargle. Yeah, you're right. This card does suck. I will say there's one card that maybe is a saving grace for this thing in this set, to where you can throw it at your opponent's face for 20 damage, but that's about it.
How often does that happen though? It's probably really low, right?
Yeah, like, it's okay. A rare that you have to get to be able to do it. Yeah, this card sucks. You're correct. So yes, you were correct in an astute assessment on Yargle. I'm glad we're on the same page. I've got 4 more cards. These are some spells. So these are no longer creatures.
Okay.
Here's your first one. You're almost done.
Okay, so I gotta clarify. So in Magic, unless it says instant, your opponent has the chance to interact with the spell.
Your opponent has the chance to interact with any spell, right? Well, I guess, yeah. So if it's their turn, they have things that are instant speed. That's when they can do. So sorcery means I can only do this on my turn in my main phases.
Okay. So this is Glistening Dawn, 2 neutral, 2 green. This is a sorcery spell. Incubate X twice, where X is the number of lands you control. So this is like the egg thing again. Interesting. This is actually probably fine in the right deck. It really depends though on what deck you are drafting. This card could be absolutely useless. And so actually, is it even useless? I'm thinking like, so in Hearthstone, I would imagine this is like really good in like we call it like a token deck, where it's just you generate a bunch of stuff and then you kill them with like buffs to their attack. This is almost the same idea. This card has probably the potential to be absolutely nuts, but if I'm thinking of this in Hearthstone terms, I don't know how, but you do incubate twice. Hold on. Incubate twice might actually make this card a little better. God, this is so good. We have nothing like this in Hearthstone. Let's say I had 5 mana. Is that good? That's probably pretty good with 5 mana in Hearthstone. This is good. This is good. This has to be 2.2. No, it has to be better than 2. It's not bad. Like, this is a fine card. You're happy to play this card. It just really depends. Hold on a second. If you tap your mana, right? Because that's your lands. It doesn't matter, right? You still incubate twice based on how much mana or how many lands you have. Like tapping your lands doesn't mean you don't control them anymore. I'm just gonna clarify.
let's say you have 6 mana. You still just pay 4, and then you incubate twice for 6, because that's how much land you control. You don't have to pay into it more than what you already have. So you just the 4 you got to pay.
This is 4 out of 5.
I would say this card is a 5 out of 5. You're close. Like, it's really, really good. Like, at minimum, you are paying 4 mana for 2 4/4s.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Which is pretty good. And like, there's like a decent amount of like synergy with like the eggs and stuff. And like, this card most of the time is not being played on turn 4. It's being played on turn like 6, 7, 8. So like turn 6, 7, 8, you pay 4 mana, you get 2 8/8s. You can crack those eggs right then and there if you want to, which I don't know why you would, because it's only 2 mana to turn them into creatures, and you have the mana to do that because you only have to pay 4 mana to get the eggs themselves.
Right. Please tell me when you play the limited format, you say, I'm going to crack these eggs.
I do say that.
Thank God.
Oh yeah, I do. I do. Yes.
That's awesome. It feels like it would have to be mandatory if you're playing this card. That's so funny.
Okay, I got another spell.
Okay, so this is an instant. Okay, so complete the circuit. This is 5 neutral, 1 blue. Convoke. Your creatures can help cast this spell. Each creature you tap while casting the spell pays for 1 neutral mana or 1 mana of the creature's color. Okay, you may cast sorcery spells this turn as though they had flash. What is flash?
Flash is like instant speed. Like if you have a sorcery, you can cast it then.
Okay, makes sense. When you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell twice. You may choose new targets for the copies. Okay. God. In Hearthstone, that's a pretty scary effect. Let's say I'm casting like a fireball, whatever. It would hit the same target twice. It usually doesn't let you pick a new target. The fact you get to pick a new target is really beneficial. I would imagine that that's really good. Oh my God. It's a pretty expensive card, but I mean... Oh my God, is this card nuts? The only thing that's holding me back from saying this card is like really, really good is the spells that you actually are getting in the limited format. If this was standard, I think this card would be really, really good. But in limited, it really depends on the spells you're getting. But I would imagine that if you're going to draft the spells, it would probably be decent enough to get this in your deck. You would have to draft this pretty early on though. I'm going to go with this card's probably pretty... No, is it good? I don't know. It seems like it's so expensive because you're tapping your creatures for it. 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. Like you need a lot of mana for this card to actually be good. And you need creatures to make this card actually like probably worth casting. In Hearthstone, like at least if I'm paying 6 mana to cast another spell, that seems like it's really weak. Like, even though it's at instant speed, I would assume it's almost the same thing in Magic, unless you just have like a lot of eggs on your board, which now that I say that out loud might make this card a little bit better. But I'm gonna go with like a 2 out of 5.
I think 2 out of 5 is incredibly generous for this card. This card, I would say,
is it worse?
Wow. This card is pretty fucking. It's bad for like a number, basically the reasons that you said. Like, it's expensive as hell. Like, limited is very like different from standard in that sense. Like, it's way too expensive, and I have to also have an awesome instant or sorcery in my hand to boot, and enough mana to cast, or enough creatures and mana to cast this spell and cast this. Also, it's too situational. It's too expensive. It's not worth it. It's to me, it's a 0 out of 5.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. All right, Breach the Multiverse. Okay, 5 neutral, 2 black. This is sorcery. Each player mills 10 cards. I'm gonna tell you right now, if this card was printed in Hearthstone, it'd be the most hated card of all time, just from that line right there. For each player, choose a creature or planeswalker card in that player's graveyard. Put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. Then each creature you control becomes a Phyrexian in addition to its other types. Oh my god.
It is worth noting that in limited, you only have a 40 card deck. And if you mill out, you die. Okay,
so in Hearthstone, if you mill out, you take incremental damage every single turn. So you take 1, the next time you draw, you take 2, and then 3.
Oh,
so you don't really die.
So that's mill is not a thing. Yeah, so in Magic, if I have no cards left in my deck, I go to draw a card, I die, no matter what my health is.
Oh, interesting. Well, the mill is kind of a thing in Hearthstone. They kind of like stopped printing support for it because generally people just absolutely despised it because we can't interact with their spells, right? So you just
because mill sucks.
Yeah, which is why this card would be one of the most hated cards in Hearthstone history. You're also the one paying for this card, which is really interesting because it's like if you're the one playing it, it's like you're milling 11 cards in a sense because you have to play this and you have to tap your mana for it. I would assume in limited, this card's pretty garbage. You would want to build your deck around this card, like, because it's almost a win condition, especially if you tell me that if you mill, you just lose. In limited, I don't think you have that luxury at all. It could be really good. Like, you would have to, not even lucky, like you would want to play this card after you had a bunch of stuff die. Therefore, you can put some stuff from onto your board from your graveyard. But like, I don't know, it feels like it's a lot of asking for a card like this. It's also very expensive. It's probably like a 1 out of 5, I'd imagine. I feel like it's just way too slow. Oh, I know. Is it a 5 out of 5? Don't say it.
Breach is a 5 out of 5.
Is it?
In limit, so for a multitude. So yes, you said that you wouldn't want to cast it unless you have things in your graveyard. You're already milling 10. So if you have nothing in your grave, like, you're gonna have things in your graveyard by the time you cast this. This is a 7 mana spell. Like, it doesn't have to be whatever, but you could, like, let's say I've gotten milled with this card, with my opponent also have no cards in their deck as well. So let's say it's my turn, I cast the card, me and my opponent both have 9 cards in our deck, I cast it, I have no deck left, but I'm not casting a card, so I just pass the turn to them on their upkeep, they're dead because they're milled out. So like that's like that's a niche part of it, but the fact that like it's 7 mana, like it's not as scary to cast as you would think that it would be, but like I said, Mom is a very bomb heavy format. So the chances of you, and you get to pick, like, let's say they milled like a bunch of commons and an Etali. You can get their Etali. Like you get to choose what you want from the card, and you get to choose from your own deck too. So this card is a 5 out of 5. It is very excellent.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Also, just so I'm clear, you said like if you play this on your turn and you mill out and your opponent also mills out, you don't lose because you're not drawing an additional card?
Yep.
Oh,
unless I accidentally play a spell that's like draw a card and then it would kill me. All right, this is the last card I have to show you.
Okay, so Sunfall 3 neutral, 2 white. This is a cool looking card. Sorcery, exile all creatures, incubate X, where X is the number of creatures exiled this way. Okay, so 5 mana, destroy all the minions on the board. So if they're exiled, right, like they're not in your graveyard, you can't get them back unless it's like a very specific card, I'm imagining.
There is nothing to get anything out of exile currently. And also to note, exile means death triggers don't happen. So if something is like when this creature dies, you get an egg, that will not happen if the card is exiled.
This is just the first thing alone. Exile all creatures for 3 neutral, 2 white. Probably is pretty great, especially in limited format. And then you get the incubate on top of it. 5 out of 5.
Yeah, this card has the one of the highest win rates after you cast it. I think it's like a 75%. After you cast Sunfall, you have a 75% chance to win the game.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
It's very hard to come back from this.
Hearthstone has a card called Soul Stealer for 8 mana. And it is the exact same idea. We don't exile cards in Hearthstone. Well, you can, but like, just imagine. So you get a 5/5 on top of it and you destroy every minion on the board.
Yeah.
That card's really good.
Yeah.
This is even better because that card procs Death Rattles. And you get something in, or the Hearthstone card procs Death Rattles. This one doesn't. And on top of that, it's cheaper. And then you get the eggs on top of it. That's disgusting. It's
disgusting. It's an excellent card, yes. An excellent card. Cut that out, please, God.
I'm leaving it in. Leave it in. Leave it in. Yeah, I have to leave it in.